Yo, man. First of all, welcome back to the Ball Oasis show. This is gonna be a little different than what we usually do. This is kind of a Ball Oasis live show. This is a trade deadline special. We're recording this about an hour before the official trade deadline at 2 p.m. Central Time on Thursday, February 9th. And man, some crazy things have happened already. So basically, how this is gonna go is Jacob has the access to whatever notifications come in. So we're going to be talking about trades here today, but Jacob is going to interrupt with whatever trade comes in because I'm sure this last hour is about to be hectic. We've seen some massive trades already though. And I think while things are quiet for now, let's just go ahead and dive into the elephant in the room, which was the trade that was made in the wee hours of the night last night. Kevin Durant going to Phoenix. Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun, along with T.J. Warren for Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, who is now a Milwaukee Buck, by the way, and 4 first-round picks and a pick swap. Just insane stuff. Me and Jacob had even debated doing an episode like this because we thought that the trade deadline was going to be quiet. Of course, we see Kyrie get moved on Sunday, and we're like, hold on, this might spark some things. But after that, Brooklyn says that they're gonna, continue to try to work around Kevin Durant. They said that as recently as like a day or two ago.
I think yesterday I said they were gonna, focus on building around him. Still.
Yeah, and obviously we see that that's not the case. As at midnight last night, they drop a nuke on the world, and Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun. So let's break this down. KD will be playing alongside Chris Paul and Devin Booker. They keep DeAndre Ayton as well. I've seen this be labeled as a super team. Jacob, do you think this is a super team?
Close, if not, yeah, close. Because you have, I guess, Devin Booker and KD. Chris Paul hasn't been the best this year like he has before, but he still contributes a lot. And, DeAndre Ayton just picks his nights where he does, want to play really good. But overall, it probably, for me, I think that might be the favorite in the West now.
Yeah. And it also poses the question on the other side for Brooklyn because, you get back Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. And right now, Brooklyn just has like a conglomeration of players. They got – is there a trade?
It's not a big trade. The Hawks are trading Justin Holiday and Frank Kaminsky to Houston for Garrison Matthews. I don't know if that's a part of the trade that just happened with Golden State and Detroit, though. I doubt it.
But anyways, not really worth mentioning on that.
Yeah,
but
no, thought it was than it was.
Yeah, back to Brooklyn. Jay Crowder's already gone, so the 2 players you get back are Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. You pick up Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, of course, from the Dallas Mavericks earlier in the week. Their direction is an interesting one because I feel like they're going in the rebuilding direction. You would have to think if you're gonna dish off Kyrie and KD in a week. But I mean, you get some solid players back, so we could see them make some moves, before the deadline today. I thought that those guys from Dallas could have possibly been rerouted. We've heard things about Mikal Bridges possibly being rerouted as well, which a package for him I couldn't imagine would be less than a solid role player and like 2-3 first-round picks because in his role, he's like the best in the league. I mean, Phoenix, you can say Phoenix got a steal out of this. You really can.
Yeah.
Especially if Kevin Durant, comes back from his injury and plays the way he was, pre-injury at an MVP caliber level. He elevates that team back to championship contention for sure. And man, it's crazy that this all happened right now. I was not expecting this to happen. I thought that it would be in the off season if something did. It was so sudden and out of nowhere. I was shocked. I was utterly shocked.
I remember, I think I texted you last night. We planned on recording and said, I hope we wake up to Woj bombs. And then, I think I went to sleep literally 5 minutes later, and then the trade happened, right as I went to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, oh my God, Jacob does. He has no idea.
I had no idea. I was hoping to wake up to some Philly trades, and then I woke up to that. And I will say you would think Phoenix loses defense, losing Mikal, but KD's been great defensively this year. Probably some of the best of his career. So I think really I think Phoenix probably did get a steal with this trade. In the, I guess, long run, maybe short run of it. It just
Yeah.
depends how you look at it. But I think they did get a steal with this trade.
Yeah. And I don't think Phoenix is done. I think here in this last hour that they'll be active.
Yeah.
Maybe not making any moves, but they'll be active on the buyout market as well because they need to, repiece their roster because they gave up 3 of their rotation players along with they just traded Dario Saric to Oklahoma City. And I guess Darius Baisley's a guy you can plug in off the bench, but their starting lineup right now would be Chris Paul, Devin Booker, TJ Warren, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Ayton. I would have to think.
Would it be Torrey Craig instead of TJ?
I thought about Torrey Craig if they wanted to, trade offense for defense because TJ Warren would probably be needed off the bench to score because off the bench it's like Cam Payne and Jock Landale and Ish Wainwright. So that bench does need a little bit of help, I think, if they're really going to go all the way in. But just overnight, Phoenix is the 5 seed right now. They're like 4 games over 500. And obviously we know Phoenix is a good team. They were the 1 seed last season, but they weren't playing great basketball this year. They've been playing better basketball lately, but I mean Devin Booker's been out, of course, but they've been a little spotty. But now with this pickup, they're obviously right back in championship contention in the Western Conference that is so bolstered now. I think I finally thought that the Eastern Conference was better than the Western Conference for once. Once in my lifetime of watching basketball, I thought that the East was finally better than the West. And I think that this past week has kind of turned the tables on that.
What was the question? I was reading the tweet.
I was about to say, is there any new news?
No, it's just some more. They were just throwing out details of the 5-round pick for Bay. That just happened.
Okay. So that's the KD trade. That's really the basis of it, and I'm sure it'll probably take like a week or 2 for him to actually come back and play. I think he might make his debut against the Clippers on national TV, probably in about a week and a half or so, like right after the All-Star break. That's my expected date for him to return. But obviously in the playoffs, the Suns are going to be
scared. Yeah, scared.
Yeah.
I think they're the 6th seed right now. So with I think 6. So with Book coming back and KD, however long, they could end up anywhere.
Yeah. And it is another thing too. Talking about Brooklyn's direction, we've had this conversation. Whenever they said that they wanted to bolster their front court, they needed another front court piece. Now, obviously, Nicholas Claxton's playing at a Defensive Player of the Year type level, and so with these trades, I think that's probably void. That's probably out the window. And I feel like they would have asked for DeAndre Ayton if they were still, looking to, not rebuild. So I think that's a little telling of the direction that they're planning to go in. And they've got a solid start with Cam Thomas, who's apparently the greatest scorer of all time over the past week, and Nicholas Claxton, who's Defensive Player of the Year, like top 3 candidate.
So do you think that people like Joe Harris and Seth Curry will probably get moved now before the deadline?
It's possible. I think it's very possible. And I think the contending teams could really look at those guys, especially a guy like Seth Curry, as a guy who could come off their bench and be like a big-time scorer. I think of a team like, the Miami Heat who are looking to move on from Kyle Lowry, or a team like – I was thinking about the Clippers before, they went out and got Bones Highland a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
But both of those guys can provide some valuable shooting. I think the Milwaukee Bucks could still be a team that they could look at. I think that for Joe Harris, I think that your Sixers could be a team that might be interested in that maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. And it's also a thing with Ben Simmons as well. It's going to be tough for them to trade Ben Simmons because of his contract.
Yeah.
But I've got a feeling that a team might take a flyer on Ben Simmons still. I've just got a feeling. Especially if they're going to attach picks to it. I think that there could be like a rebuilding team that could, take the flyer on Ben.
Yeah. So I know you were interested in him, but I couldn't see him doing that now with
I kind of changed my mind on that whenever I went and I looked at the contract, because Yeah, it's very limiting what you can do with Ben Simmons on your roster with another super max contract player.
Yeah, that's because I think he's on his rookie max, so you couldn't sign, get anybody else on the rookie max trade or anything.
Right. So that's the Kevin Durant trade to Phoenix. I say we go ahead, and there's still no new news, right?
Nope. No.
So let's go ahead and let's jump into Kyrie to Dallas. So this happened on Sunday. And it's funny to think about. At this time last week, the Brooklyn Nets were probably in the best shape that they've been in all year. They're top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're winning games, outside of Kevin Durant being hurt. Everything seems to be finally on the right track for Brooklyn. And then Kyrie comes out and he requests a trade.
Yep.
Which is kind of, the writing was on the wall, I guess, in a sense, but it's something I guess we kind of forgot about since they were winning games. Winning is supposed to cure everything. But of course, Kyrie's up for a contract extension in the offseason. The Brooklyn Nets couldn't come to terms with what he was expecting, so they went ahead and they traded him to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a first-round pick, and 2 seconds. What's the word?
Houston Rockets are finalizing the deal to send Eric Gordon to the Clippers.
Really?
So
I know he was a guy on your radar.
Yeah, he's a great guy off the bench, especially when you got Bones now. Go ahead and finish.
The Clippers got so many guys now. What in the world?
Clippers are over there planning something.
I know. They've got like a 12-man rotation right now. Weird. But yeah, back to Kyrie to Dallas. It's obviously is going to be interesting to see, Kyrie alongside Luka Doncic whenever he comes back from his injury. I don't think it will be a problem. I think that the Dallas Mavericks will have no problems offensively because of Luka's great playmaking ability. And Kyrie has shown that he can play in an offense with other, super great offensive players. Yeah. So I'm not worried about that. I am a little worried about their defense, though. And I think that in this last hour or so, they need to, explore. I've seen that they've explored an OG Anunoby trade. I've seen that they've tried to explore a Jay Crowder trade before he was moved to the Bucks. Yeah. I think that a real defensive stopper on the perimeter is needed for them to really contend. Because do you really think right now, Jacob, that this Dallas Mavericks team would beat, even with the addition of Kyrie, would beat like a team like the Nuggets or Phoenix at the Western Conference?
Before I start, that trade with Eric Gordon's a multi-team deal, so I'll try to find the details later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think so. I think they could get back to the Western Conference Finals, but like you said, offense. I don't think offense would be a problem with this team. It's their defense, and unless they do go against somebody in this last hour, but against like the Nuggets or I guess maybe the Suns now, I think I would still go Nuggets and Suns or like a team like that just because they have I'm not going to say like more star power or, like the scoring, I guess. Just they have better pieces around their main guys. Like it's just overall, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But I think they could make noise definitely, but I don't think it'd be, finals or maybe not even conference finals again.
Right. And that's a scary thing because it's possible that Kyrie does not re-sign in the offseason. Of course, we've already seen his name be tied to the Lakers and the Suns now, with potential contract extensions in the offseason. What just happened?
The Houston Rockets are acquiring John Wall and 3-team deal with Clippers and Grizzlies.
Oh, Memphis finally gets involved.
The Clippers are sending Luke Kennard to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, that's a nice pickup.
Yeah,
that's a nice pickup. I like that for Memphis. I wrote down potential trade destinations the other day for guys, and I think I had like Evan Fournier going to like the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, it was something like that.
I just thought, or like Doug McDermott to the Memphis Grizzlies because I just thought that they needed like a real 3-point sniper. I think that's a great pickup. Who did Memphis give up?
It hadn't came in. It just says Houston got John Wall again, and then
reunion.
Yeah, Gordon to the Clippers and Kennard to Memphis. I don't know. It hadn't popped up yet.
Man, that's that's big news. That's big news for the Grizzlies, who are, of course, looking to still contend at the top of the Western Conference.
Right.
And it's a stat. It's a stat with the Memphis Grizzlies that I bring up all the time in the past year and a half. Whenever they shoot over 35% from three as a team, they're almost unbeatable. And Luke Kennard will obviously help with that, as he's one of the best percentage 3-point shooters in the NBA. It'll be interesting to see his fit in that rotation. I think that might knock a guy like Danny Green out of the rotation, who's come back and has not played really well. But for the Grizzlies, a team who's trying to contend right now, I'm glad that they did something, because I was kind of expecting them to go through this deadline and, not really do anything and feel content with what they have. And at this point, with the Western Conference looking the way that it does, that current roster, it's not enough. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
But that's a big trade. Of course, John Wall being reunited in Houston. I feel kind of bad for John Wall, but
Yeah, like you said, Danny Green to Houston. So, yeah, I just have pushed Danny. Danny's going to Houston.
Oh, Danny Green's going to Houston?
Yeah.
Maybe he can provide some veteran presence in that locker room for the Rockets, who have absolutely zero veteran presence outside of Eric Gordon.
John Wall now.
Yeah.
If he don't get bought out or, moved again.
Yeah. I give the W in that trade to the Grizzlies. I think that's a good trade for the Grizzlies.
It is. It would have been, I guess, the same almost, but I'd rather have Kennard than, Danny shooting.
Yeah. And for the Clippers, too, to acquire Eric Gordon, I mean, sure, why not add another shooter and get off John Wall's, contract?
Yeah, they getting him and Bones, I guess, not together, but same time, that'll, I don't know, their bench. I think they have to be doing something else too, because they have a lot of guys in rotation.
Yeah, because I think about their bench. You've got Norman Powell, you've got Terrence Mann, who could possibly come off the bench. You've got Nicholas Batum, who comes off the bench tonight. You got Robert Covington, and of course now Bones Highland and Eric Gordon. So there's a conglomeration of guys over there in Clipperland. And I mean, obviously depth is not a problem, but I could see it as a thing that their day is not done yet either.
Yeah, I wonder if they're setting up a bigger package.
Also, I've seen them be on the buyout market as well, with Russell Westbrook being bought out by Utah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which I guess kind of goes into our the next trade I want to bring up. You had anything else you want to talk about the Kyrie to Dallas trade?
No, I think it's good for both teams for where they're at.
Yeah, I'll add one more point about that. Losing Dorian Finney-Smith, like we were saying, I think that will hurt Dallas, because that instantly it pushes Josh Green into a role where he has to be the main perimeter defender, him or Reggie Bullock. And I don't think that either of those guys is capable of taking on that role with the best guards in the Western Conference. So it'll be interesting to see, how Dallas operates here in this last 45 minutes or so, and if they don't make any moves going forward, if they're able to really rely on their offense to, beat some of the best teams in the Western Conference, which at this point, I still don't know if their offense is as good as Denver's, because Denver's offense is transcendently good.
What?
So the notes?
This says the LA Clippers are trading Patrick Beverley to the Orlando Magic for center Mo Bamba.
The Lakers?
It says Clippers, but I guess, yeah, Lakers, yeah.
The Lakers trading
Patrick
Bev
to Orlando for Mo Bamba.
That makes sense. That makes sense, because I mean they just traded Thomas Bryant.
But I thought they traded Thomas Bryant to give more playing time to Vanderbilt and Gabriel now.
Well, I'm just thinking about their backup 5 spot. I mean, I guess you could play either of those guys at the backup 5, but they didn't have a true 5 on that roster after, Thomas Bryant gets traded, because Anthony Davis, he never really wants to play the 5. So I like that trade. I like that trade for the Lakers. And tying that into Thomas Bryant, I think Thomas Bryant to Denver was one of the most underrated pickups of the day as well. I think Denver picking up Thomas Bryant kind of shores up their roster. But Lakers picking up Mo Bamba is they've done some good things. They've done some good things over the last 24 hours. Is there any more attached to that you've seen?
That was all it said. Shams said Western Conference contender has been emerging as a suitor for OG, but it don't say the team. It's just a video.
Western Conference contender. That can be one of three teams, in my opinion. It can be Golden State, it can be Memphis, and it can be Dallas.
He said Golden State.
Golden State. Man.
This West about to be.
My thing with OG to Golden State is, I mean, that would obviously be great. Any team would love to have OG, but he kind of does like the same things that Andrew Wiggins does. So like, you're just getting like another Andrew Wiggins basically, with like I guess a little bit better defense. But man, Golden State. I guess I mean, with Phoenix making that move, I guess you've got to compensate for to compete at the top with man. If they pull that off, that would be crazy. I had OG, originally I had OG going to the Suns. I thought OG would be the guy that goes to the Suns before of course Kevin Durant did. Anything else with that before
Yeah, that's all they said was just they interested in him or coming up as a suitor for him.
Yeah. Because I want to get into this trade that was made yesterday, the three-teamer between the Lakers, the Timberwolves, and the Utah Jazz. With D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt going to the Los Angeles Lakers, the Minnesota Timberwolves getting Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and 3 second-round picks, and Utah getting Russell Westbrook, who will be bought out, of course, Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, and a 2027 first-round pick. Jacob, originally, like, off the rip, who do you think wins this trade?
I'm going to have to go Lakers. Just because, they get Beasley, Vanderbilt, and D'Lo, and they only gave up, I think, like a pick and Russ. So, obviously, they improve a lot. Vanderbilt, more defense, and Beasley get the shooting that they've needed all year. And I just think D'Lo, like the playmaking, he'll start. The playmaking for him, and he's been shooting really good lately. I just think that kind of, I'm not saying contend or anything, but it kind of boosts your chances of, like, playoff contention and just being able to compete instead of just relying on LeBron and AD for everything.
Right. I mean, yeah, on paper, I think that the Lakers are the winners of this trade as well. Although I do think that Minnesota actually gets better from this too. I think Mike Conley is a good fit for the Timberwolves. I think that he'll fit really well alongside Anthony Edwards. He has some camaraderie already with Rudy Gobert, of course, with both of them playing together in Utah. But the Lakers, immediately whenever this trade was broken, you just saw D'Angelo Russell and like Mike Conley and Russell Westbrook. And immediately I was like, okay, the Lakers, are getting something new. That's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Not a bad trade. But then on top of that, you get Malik Beasley, who's like the best 3-point shooter off the bench this year, and Jared Vanderbilt, who's a guy that, comes in and does all the little things, which is a guy that the Lakers could really use, who's like 6'9", 6'10". I think that the Lakers, they got a great deal out of this. I think that they to bolster their depth, which was something that they needed to do, and to get guys who could really come in and contribute. I think that this was a great trade for the Lakers. I think that they accomplished a lot of things. The only thing I will say is if they could have somehow gotten Mike Conley instead of D'Angelo Russell, and that's something I mentioned to you. D'Angelo Russell might be a better player than Mike Conley, but I just think fit alongside, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I think Mike Conley could have been a guy who would like assist to turnover ratio is like been like the best in the NBA for like the longest time. I think that could have been a big thing for the Lakers. I saw you make a face. Did something just happen?
It was a small trade. The Spurs trade Josh Richardson to New Orleans.
I mean, that's
good for.
Yeah, that's going to be a playoff. That could be a playoff team picking up a guy off the bench to come in and score. Josh Richardson.
Yeah, I don't have any more details, but that's all it says.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised New Orleans hasn't made more noise yet.
Yeah, I know they were in for OG, but I haven't heard anything else about it in like a few weeks. Devontae Graham and a second round pick for Josh Richardson.
Yeah, Devontae Graham was a guy that I never really thought fit into that rotation anyway. So I think that that's a solid pickup for the Pelicans. I have no idea what Josh Richardson's contract is, but going forward for this year, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And I thought that Josh Richardson could have been a guy that got picked up by like one of the contending Eastern Conference teams, like the Bucks or the Celtics, even to come off the bench. But yeah, back to this three-teamer. Utah, of course, is gonna have so many picks now. I think they've got like 15 first-round picks in the next like 4 or 5 years. So their rebuild is well underway. And of course, whenever they got off to that hot start, we kind of like questioned, okay, is Utah going to go? Are they actually going to try to win games this year? And as they've kind of fallen off a little bit, they kind of gotten back into this direction of where they're going to sell. And I think it's the thing. I mentioned this to you yesterday. I think that they might not be done either with guys like Rudy Gay and maybe even Jordan Clarkson, who could be used off the bench as like a six. I think Jordan Clarkson by nature is like a six man.
Yeah.
I think he's like a 6 man of the year candidate. Of course, he's won it before, but he's had to kind of step in and be a starter on that Utah team. But I think on like a contending team, I think that he could be like a 6 man. So I think Utah might not be done.
Yeah, I think that Rudy Gay will probably be gone after trade deadline, or should bought out maybe.
Yeah.
At the trade earlier, the Pistons are sending Kevin Knox to the Warriors too, which they say he'll probably get traded somewhere else, right back.
Yeah, he won't crack their rotation. What's the next biggest trade of note that we saw?
I say we can get to our trade eventually, but I don't think that's the.
That's not necessarily a really big one.
Yeah.
Matisse Thybulle to Portland, and
Jalen
McDaniels came from Charlotte to Philly, which I mean, both teams kind of pick up a little bit of what they need, but I mean, on the surface, I guess for Philly, a contending team, it's big, of course.
It's big for our teams, but like the actual landscape, it's not really.
Yeah.
Anything.
One of the most underrated trades that I'll say is I think Boston getting Mike Muscala was actually a really underrated trade. Getting Mike Muscala from OKC, because we've seen their name mentioned with like Kelly Olynyk, and I basically think Mike Muscala is just like Kelly Olynyk like 2.0 basically. So
he provides a great spacing and 3-point shot definitely for already good 3-point shooting team when they're hot.
Yeah, I think that he would be a better option like Luke Kornet, come in and be a better option than him.
I was thinking maybe I was thinking maybe Blake Griffin, but yeah, probably Luke Kornet.
I know we touched on this one a little bit earlier, but just to touch on it a little bit more, Thomas Bryant getting sent to Denver, I think that shores up their rotation now. Of course, they lose Bones Highland, but Bones Highland was a guy who was a little bit he was a little bit of a contrast to their offense, what they run. He was kind of a guy that, of course, the microwave, and I think Denver didn't really want to risk that because their offense is so good and it's so fluid. If Bones Highland comes in and he shoots like 2 for 12 one night, that could be the reason that they lose a game. Because Denver's defense is not going to be like a top 10 defense. They might not even be a top half defense, but their offense is so good that of course it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And their starting lineup is going to be the best offensive unit in the NBA as long as they're together. So adding Thomas Bryant to come in off the bench, I think is really good. Of course, they had DeAndre Jordan and Zeke Naji, who, of course, DeAndre Jordan been a guy that you've been super critical of for a long time, which I mean, rightfully so. But I think Denver gets a good deal out of that.
Yeah, I like that. I kind of figured they would get Naz Reid from Minnesota and a Bones deal. But Thomas Bryant, I mean, still, that's a great pickup for them, especially with that backup position or backup big spot.
Yeah. Would you be interested in Naz Reid to Philadelphia?
Yes. Yep. I've seen mock trades of it, but now without Matisse, I don't know what we give up. Probably like a Shake Milton in picks, or Shake Milton and like Montrezl Harrell maybe, but I don't see if we could. I'd love it, but I don't see if we could.
Yeah, I guess we can touch on this one for a minute too. Jay Crowder finally getting traded. Jay Crowder gets sent to Milwaukee, kind of shoring up their starting lineup, I guess. And I mean, Milwaukee has been a team lately who's won a lot of games. I think they're on like a nice little winning streak right now. They're kind of finding their footing, like I thought they would. But Chris Middleton has been coming off the bench, and that's been a winning formula for them. And I would not be surprised if they kept that, going forward. Of course, Chris Middleton's going to be a guy who you close the game with. He's not going to be on the bench in the fourth quarter. But to start games, Chris Middleton coming off your bench as your sixth man. I mean, like.
So, you think Jay Crowder would start?
I think so. I think he would.
So would it be Drew, Grayson,
Jay Crowder, Giannis, and Brook Lopez?
So that pushes Bobby back to the bench.
Yeah, I think Chris Middleton, Bobby, and like Joe Ingles and Javon Carter. I think that's probably their 9.
That's
maybe like Pat Connaughton as their 10.
Yeah, that's not a bad second unit.
Yeah, that's a great second unit. So Milwaukee didn't have to do much. I saw, of course, them being mentioned with a guy like Gary Trent Jr., who I thought could be good for them. But Gary Trent Jr. is kind of erratic as well. He's a guy who could come in and shoot like 2 for 13 and completely, ruin a team's offensive game. Or he's a microwave. He's one of those microwave players, basically. And I thought that Milwaukee, their offense isn't great. There might not be a top half of the league offense. Maybe with this team, though. And if they are, then they probably vault back up to like top 2 in the NBA for me.
Yeah, their defense is going to be there, no matter what.
Nothing new since the Lakers Magic trade.
Just more, rumors and.
I'm saying. Did you say that the Pistons got James Wiseman out of that?
Yeah, I think I did. They got James Wiseman, Atlanta got Bay, and I think Golden State got picks. What it was.
I mean, hey, the Pistons not a team looking to win. Why not take a chance on James Wiseman? I mean, Saddiq Bey doesn't really fit your timeline, I guess. Although he is really young, he could be better on like a team who's trying to win games, like in Atlanta, who needs a little bit of help off their bench. So yeah, sure, why not? Go for it. Bones Highland to the Clippers. Let's talk about that one because I thought Bones Highland would go, like you said, to the Wolves. Yeah. I thought it would be like a Naz Reid swap. I guess this means that the Clippers won't go after Russell Westbrook. I think that probably rules that out at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see the Clippers rolling out both of those guys at the same time.
Yeah.
But Bones Highland is a guy. It's an interesting move for the Clippers, I think, because Clippers just have so many guys. They just have so many guys.
I'm thinking I'm at the.
I don't think it's a bad move at all. It's just I didn't expect him to go to the Clippers.
I'm gonna look the roster up and see.
I am a little confused by that.
They have a lot of rotation guys.
Yeah.
Because without Wall, it'd be 1. They have, I think, 11 like actual rotation guys that could be played now.
Yeah.
Not counting the small like Moses Brown or Amir Coffey. The guys that really don't get time, but. That's because they still have Reggie Jackson. I forgot they have Reggie Jackson.
Yeah. I was going to ask you to name off names for me. Can you go back and like name off who those 11 guys are, just to refresh our minds?
Nick Batum, Robert Covington, Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Kawhi Leonard, Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris, Norman Powell, and Zubac. Which now Bones and
Eric Gordon.
Yeah. So that's about 11 or 12 guys.
Yeah.
10, 12.
I mean, of course, like we said, depth is never a bad thing. Of course, having surplus of depth, but I don't know. I think that they could bolster their big position. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't been mentioned in like other bigs. I'm still upset with them for letting Isaiah Hartenstein walk to the Knicks. That is something I'm still, I got a beef with the Clippers about. But I don't know. I guess we're closing in on like 30 minutes until the deadline now. So
Yeah, I think like 25 now.
yeah, it's crunch time. So if these teams are gonna make a move, they gotta get on it. Speaking of the,
I don't know. I don't know if you mentioned it. I saw that the Knicks and Bulls were in talks with Zach LaVine.
I saw that too.
Knicks.
I'm not. I don't believe that.
I wouldn't mind seeing if they trade one of their bigs. They have, I think, 3 now, or 3. Well, I doubt it because Mitchell Robinson's hurt. Because they have Hartenstein and Jericho Sims.
Yeah.
So I wonder if one of them get packaged.
I've seen Obi Toppin's name be in trade talks as well. Obi Toppin's a guy who I would have loved to like come over. I guess we can talk about this deal too, the Josh Hart deal. Whenever I saw we were trading Josh Hart to the Knicks, I was like, oh my goodness, we got Obi Toppin. I'm gonna be like ecstatic. But I mean, Cam Reddish is not bad either. Of course, Cam Reddish has been a guy who hasn't really found a home yet, and I think, of course, with this Portland team, he will get minutes, he will get run. And him being 6'8", a lot of times he'll probably be the tallest player on the floor, which is crazy to say. But I really do hope Cam Reddish finds a home because we saw him at the beginning of the season. I remember that opening night game against the Memphis Grizzlies. Cam Reddish hit the shot to send the game to overtime, and he had like 20-plus points in that game. Did something just happen?
No, I'm trying to pull it back up.
Oh,
see.
But yeah, losing Josh Hart. Josh Hart was a guy, me as a Blazer fan, the writing was on the wall that he wasn't gonna, re-sign with Portland. So it was good for us to go ahead and get something out of him. We got a lottery protected first round pick as well, which it's needed if we're gonna make like a trade in like off season or something. Because I expect that our trade deadline is done at this point, unless we try to go for a guy like a Nerlens Noel or a backup big maybe, which would be nice, but
Yeah, I think Noel's getting traded because they just got Wiseman and they have Duran and Isaiah Stewart.
Right.
So you'd have to.
It would make sense.
Because I think we were in talks with him about Noel too. Us, Miami, and Boston, I think.
Yeah, and I know that you said something like Alec Burks Noel package would be nice.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. That would be
great before
for a team's trying to win.
Yeah, that's before the Matisse trade. So I don't know what we would give up now.
I guess the biggest guy who hasn't been traded yet is still OG. Although of course somebody could come out of nowhere like a Zach LaVine and get traded to the Knicks. I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me. Just because of
Zach to the Knicks.
Yeah, just because of RJ Barrett. I guess RJ Barrett might be involved in that trade, but Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett. I like the Knicks core group right now.
Would you bring RJ off the bench? Because he runs the second unit a lot anyway. But I mean,
for the money he makes, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't
like in a Zach LaVine trade. Like, if RJ Barrett's not the centerpiece, what is?
It'd have to be like quickly and contract wise, it'd have to be RJ.
Right. Yeah.
So, I guess if Chicago decides to do not rebuild but sell, then it could work.
Yeah. A team who's been very quiet up to this point that, had a lot of rumors swirling around them is Miami. I thought Miami would be more active at this point. Of course, with Kyle Lowry and potentially, Victor Oladipo, and maybe if they could somehow attach Duncan Robinson to a contract. Miami's been really quiet, and I think that they need to get active quick if they really want to contend in the Eastern Conference with those teams at the top.
I think they make a last minute trade.
Think so?
Because I know they were trying to get Lowry, trade Lowry real bad, but I don't know who would take him. But they have to do something. They have to get more depth or like a forward or something.
Hey, try to send Lowry back to Toronto with some. Wait, what just happened?
The Hornets are trading Mason Plumlee to the Clippers.
There's your big, I guess.
I don't know what they're doing. Hornets are trading center Mason Plumlee to the Clippers. I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, I guess there's your big if you're the Clippers. Congratulations, you get Mason Plumlee. I mean, he plays pretty solid paint defense, but interesting.
Clippers he's a great, playmaker for, I guess, the five, not one of the best, they're sending Reggie Jackson to Charlotte.
Okay, so at least the numbers, even back out. Another team, Charlotte, like, you've got Terry Rozier, you've got Gordon Hayward, you've got Kelly Oubre.
Yeah. So
Charlotte was supposed to be like these big sellers, and I mean, of course, maybe it's something that they wait until the off season. But these are guys who could help contending teams.
They should. I think they traded Mason. I know for to give younger guys a chance, but
like Kai Jones
and
Mark Williams, yeah.
Yeah, but you would have to trade. I don't see the point of Reggie Jackson unless they move him, because you have LaMelo and Terry. Unless you trade Terry. Yeah.
Reggie Jackson was just like a filler piece, I feel like, just to make contracts match. He won't, be important to what Charlotte is trying to do, which is hopefully rebuild, which is what they should be doing. But of course, with what's his name? The coach. Oh, why can't I think of his name? The old Magic coach. Their coach doesn't want to rebuild, basically. He has a history of, just wanting to be mid. But I guess good pickup for the Clippers. There's the big depth that we were looking for them to get. But yeah, Charlotte's got to get going, because they could really get some picks out of Terry Rozier. They could maybe get a pick out of Kelly Oubre.
Yeah.
They could. I don't know about Gordon Hayward at this point, because I just have no idea how to gauge Gordon Hayward's trade value. Who else do they have? They have somebody else. I thought that they could have got a little more out of Jalen McDaniels, honestly. I thought that y'all getting Jalen McDaniels for what y'all got him for was kind of a steal.
Yeah, I agree. I would say, do you think Miami should go after Reggie Jackson now? Or it wouldn't be much of an upgrade, but
yeah, no. I don't think that accomplishes much. I think that the main guy on Miami's plate right now should be OG Anunoby, if they could somehow pull that off, which would be really tough for them too.
Yeah.
But Fred VanVleet, also from the Raptors, if you're trying to, upgrade that point guard position. I don't know, because Miami's going to be such a tough team to trade, because of what they have isn't going to be very appealing.
I'm not sure about their draft compensation, but I know they have, more than likely, most of the starters are not untouchable. Like, you got Lowry, Vincent, Strus, Oladipo. And then other than that, I'm not sure, who else
you might have to throw in the rookie Jovic to sweeten the pot a little bit. I don't know.
Other than those guys, I don't think that's appealing for another star player. Or to
get, I wouldn't want to trade for any of those guys.
I don't know what Miami can do. And I know Bam on the rookie max, that kind of affects some, but not much.
Yeah. We're approaching 17 minutes until the official trade deadline. I do remember it was something last year where once the 2:00 hour finally hit, there were five spam trades that come up out of nowhere. So I expect the same thing to happen. I think a lot of teams are holding out until the very end just to see what they could possibly try to squeeze out. But obviously the biggest moves were made before today.
Yeah.
What's your favorite deal that's been done today so far, Jacob?
My favorite?
Outside of your team.
Yeah, I'd say outside of my team, it'd be. I might have to go with the Clippers.
Getting who?
I know Plumlee, that'll help some, but say everybody, because they just added more depth they already had, and now you got kind of, I guess, better depth maybe. It kind of improved a little bit, but I might have to lean towards the Clippers at this moment.
What is Luke Kennard's contract? Because I am a little interested why they would move.
It had to be around 10 million. I think Danny Green was making 10 million this year.
I'm about to look up if he's expiring though.
3 years, 43 million.
Huh.
So that's a
that's
a big contract for.
That's interesting to me that they would move Luke Kennard. For Eric Gordon.
So
I don't really get that.
Does this mean Dillon Brooks is? Because I think he was able to sign. He's a free agent this offseason, isn't he?
Right.
Yeah. So how much would you pay him now when you got Luke Kennard making 43 million?
If I'm Dillon Brooks, I'm asking for like no less than like
25
17
or 17.
20, I'm about to say 25 would be crazy.
The rumor I saw was like a 4-year, 100 million. That's what I saw.
If I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm slamming the door in Dillon Brooks' face if he asks for 4.
I wouldn't do that, but
yeah. But I think it's something like 17, 18. I think that's what I would pay for Dillon Brooks. 20 is like the highest I would go. 20, maybe like 21, 22. I would not go to 25. I couldn't do it.
But because Desmond Bane's gonna get paid too. You never know when that time comes. So
right,
he's
likely going to get 25.
So unless something happens, I don't know what else they could do, like signing wise, maybe.
Yeah, they've got some decisions to make.
I didn't think his contract is that big. Yeah,
Luke Kennard is a good pickup for Memphis, so it really is. That might be my favorite underrated pickup of the day, along with of course Jay Crowder to the Bucks. I think that just shores them up even more, and he fits so well with that team with the grittiness on defense. Just adding another like catch and shoot guy alongside Giannis, who will operate from the perimeter, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. I really like that move. Which that move was like, we knew that move was coming. That's the most like obvious move of the day.
I just saw that Atlanta's planning to keep John Collins.
Huh. Well. Huh.
I don't.
You could get some good value out of John Collins. You really could. I guess Atlanta's just trying to win with what they've got. I don't know. I mean, John. It's never been a thing where John Collins has come out and he said, "Hey, I want to trade."
Yeah, so, it's just that he's been in rumors for a year, like 2 years. But I guess that's just team rumors.
Yeah. I mean, and the teams you got to think about it too. The teams who were like in the market for John Collins aren't like contending teams. It's like the Jazz and like the Pacers.
Yeah.
Like middle of the pack teams.
Yeah, they're rebuilding teams or slowly rebuilding.
Yeah. So if I'm John Collins, I would like wait to see if there's like a contending team who would want to pay the money for me. If I'm a contending team, I wouldn't take on the John Collins contract, but I don't know. I feel like if he was going to be traded, he would have been traded already anyway. So yeah. I guess we have to just continue to wait on that one.
There was, I think, a trade last night that was going to go through, or yesterday before the LA trade, sitting in Russ. I guess that fell through when that deal came up.
Wait, what was that?
It was a trade that would have sent John Collins to Utah. No, I think John Collins and like Westbrook to Utah or something, but it fell through once the Vanderbilt, Beasley, and D'Lo trade happened. That's what I saw. It was like a proposed trade that I guess never happened because of the other offer.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. And the Utah John Collins trade destination kind of was like always weird to me anyway, just because they got Larry Markkinen now, and so they kind of play a lot of the same way.
Yeah.
I guess John Collins is a little more pick and roll, like roll man, but yeah, Utah is always a weird destination. I always thought Indiana was like the place. If John Collins was going to be traded, I thought Indiana was like the best place for him to go.
Pair him and Miles Turner together.
Yeah, and Tyrese. I thought I've said before on this channel that I think that would be really good. It's the thing. Does this trade deadline so far, Jacob, change how you see contenders in what about in the Eastern Conference? Because in the Western Conference, obviously you've got Phoenix, going back up to the top. You've got Dallas maybe rising a little bit. What about the Eastern Conference? Does it change how you view the teams at the top at all?
Not really. I think it's the same top three: the Boston, Milwaukee, Philly. The Blazers are trading. Where'd it go? Hold on.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
Blazers are trading Gary Payton second to the Warriors for 5 second-round picks.
Well, now you gotta get my live reaction on this.
Well, I guess that's all today from. I don't know. I guess does getting Matisse cause that to happen?
Obviously, Portland's not winning anything this year. That's no secret. They probably aren't even contending next year. But I felt like Gary Payton was such a great player to have on this team. I guess it is a thing too, with we pick up Matisse, and I don't even think Cam Reddish will probably be a long time player for us.
Y'all getting Kevin Knox?
Wow, great! Congratulations, us. But I did see earlier today that in a potential James Wiseman deal that Gary Payton was wanting to be
go back.
He wanted to be a Warrior again, basically.
But he left, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't take their offer in the offseason. So he basically took the money, and they were like, no, we actually want you back. Huh. Good for him, being back in a spot where, of course, he has a chance to actually win this year. But this is upsetting news to me. This does upset me a little bit. But I do think it's a thing where alongside Dame, it would be hard to put Gary Payton alongside Dame just because of his height. Yeah. Dame, I've told you this. I've told you this on several occasions. Dame needs a 6'5", 6'6" player to be like his 2. I think we've seen with, of course, CJ and with Anthony Simons that it's tough to build a team around 2 guys who are 6'3" in the backcourt who are score first. Yeah. So, we pick up Matisse, Cam Reddish, and I'm still not sold that Cam Reddish is going to be a long-term player for us just because I have no idea what he's going to come in and look like. But Cam Reddish is 6'8", so he's got the mold to be a player that fits alongside Dame. But I don't know, man. It does hurt because I really like GP2. I was so excited when we picked him up in the offseason. Yeah.
You'll be happy with Matisse, but I remember joking yesterday about a Matisse Gary Payton trade, and you said no, thank you, and it's basically what happened today.
Yeah.
So about 7 minutes left, and
we got 5 second-round picks. You said.
Yeah, and Kevin Knox. So maybe that Anthony Simons OG trade, bro.
We couldn't have gotten a first out of that. Come on, no. Man, I was expecting our day to be done. I wasn't even expecting the Blazers to come back up.
Yeah, I expect ours to be done until that 5 minutes after, and a dumb trade happened for us, like a Furkan for a pick.
That means I'm gonna have to watch Kevin Knox play basketball this year. Ew, that's gross. That's disgusting. Because he'll probably come in and play on our team is the thing. That's gross.
You get the watch the offensive development of Matisse too. Do you think y'all will re-sign him this year? He's a restricted free agent this offseason.
Probably, honestly. I feel like they wouldn't have traded for him if they weren't going to.
Yeah.
And for I think he's been a guy that they've actually wanted for a long time. We've seen that his name be mentioned with Portland for a while now.
Yeah.
So I do think that he gets an extension from
I
us.
think it's interesting, like with all the trades. Like I know we didn't get the Kyrie trade or Kyrie game until like a few days after, to see how all these new trades fit.
Yeah,
Like the Clippers, like what do they do with like what does Ty Lue do with all that depth?
yeah. And of course, it's something that I don't think that we'll really be able to tell completely until like maybe next season, because I've always been a proponent of
Trades are going to take time to actually
right.
see
And
who. Yeah,
like who's like I said this last year whenever James Harden got traded. Who's realistically the last superstar who was traded mid-season and won a championship on his new team?
it was
Superstar.
superstar. There wasn't one, I don't think.
I was about to say because there's never been one.
Yeah, I don't think there
There's
was.
never ever been one. Like the biggest example of it, of like the biggest type of player was like Rasheed Wallace getting traded to the Pistons from the Blazers mid-season.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, and he's like the only one. And even Rasheed Wallace is not like a superstar player. He's like a star player.
Do you think Ben Simmons? No, I think we already mentioned that. Never mind. Because I saw some rumors about Ben Simmons getting moved, but like I said, I don't see who would take him.
Yeah,
I think we mentioned it earlier. Not.
like I said, at this point, I feel like it would be like a rebuilding team who has money to give up.
Yeah, to take a chance on him, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Because he came out yesterday, of course, and he said like it's going to take time for me to get back to like where I was in Philly. So, I like whenever he was at his peak in Philly, of course.
Yeah, but that's yeah, I can understand. We'll have to see.
Let's see, 156. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes.
3 minutes now. Yeah, well, about a few minutes after the trade.
I'll say, Jacob, you better keep refreshing that phone because
I've been doing that the whole time. Like my finger hurts.
I'd say I've got like I've got
It's the last thing that popped up was new Blazers defensive duo, and then never mind.
I saw that earlier.
Yeah. That trade doesn't make sense to me. It really don't. Y'all just got draft picks for a future trade.
I really do think this has been my theory for a while that they're setting up like a big trade, that they're trying to set up a big trade for the off season.
Because y'all gave up 2 picks.
I feel like they were trying to do that last off season too. And whenever I saw like Kevin Durant got traded yesterday, I thought, like, man, we really missed out on this one.
Yeah, like I know you said y'all lost a pick earlier because I think y'all got one back from our trade. You just got 5 second-round picks, the first from New York.
Right.
Yeah, it has to be setting something up.
You would think at least. I feel so bad for Dame. I feel so bad for him.
It's not really news, but it said Christian Wood is staying in Dallas. Sources say, which I don't think he was even in any trade talks.
Yeah, I only saw like one thing with him, and I think it was just like an idea. It wasn't even like anybody like talking or anything.
Yeah.
158, 2 minutes. I've had a weird feeling for a while that OG was going to stay a Raptor.
I think with them getting Jakob Poeltl, I don't know if we mentioned that the Raptors got Jakob Poeltl last night too.
Oh yeah, right.
I don't think we mentioned in that. I guess they finally got their big man, but now they have a surplus of big men. So it's that team could make no. I'm not gonna say they could make noise, but they're not even playing or like barely playing.
Yeah,
I think it'd be the off season. I think teams will see what happens in the playoffs before they do a big trade or a big package for OG, like a Memphis or a Portland, New Orleans, like a team like that.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I don't know. I just feel like OG is one of those players whose value could continue to rise as time goes on. Maybe not on the Raptors, but just in theory. I don't know.
1 minute or about a minute, and we'll see after that what happens.
Nothing has popped up really.
I say nothing. Yeah, after that last few trades, nothing happened. It's
I
2 o'clock.
will.
We'll give it a few more minutes and see.
I was about to say usually the alerts will like come in like after the 2 o'clock hour, but of course the trade will be finalized before.
Yeah.
If so, I mean, of course, last year's actual trade deadline day was probably a little more, uh, entertaining than today. But in all, with everything, this trade deadline has overachieved with Kevin Durant, with Kyrie Irving, with everything that happened.
I think this trade deadline was better, but last year's you had like James Harden, Ben Simmons, like you had the more suspenseful, I guess, because that took until almost the end instead of like the night before.
Right, and then the morning of, you had Tyrese Halliburton and Sabonis, you had CJ getting traded to the Pelicans, you had Kristaps Porzingis getting traded to Washington at like the very end. So
I don't see any.
nothing.
Nothing's popped up yet.
But I'll say we'll give it a few more minutes.
And I guess this doesn't count into like the buyout market. Like if players like Noel gets bought out and guys like that, or like somebody on the Clippers that might not get a whole lot of time.
Yeah,
That'd be like a thing to look at later on.
Yeah. Also, I would be remiss. I meant to begin the episode with this, but congratulations to LeBron James on passing the all-time scoring record, of course, as well, which was something that I know I'll never forget as long as I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's getting another ceremony tonight as well.
Oh yes, did get it tonight.
Yeah. So
I'm glad I watched. That's the one game I made sure I watched.
Mm-hmm. So congratulations to LeBron. In my opinion, LeBron James has had the greatest basketball career of all time. I'll just go ahead and say that right now. He's had the greatest basketball career.
Yeah.
2:02. No new notifications?
Nope. I'm gonna go to their pages and see. Which I think last year stuff happened like 5 to 10 minutes after, like the finalize and the smaller deals.
Yeah. I'm about to have to put my phone on the charger right now because it's about to die.
If you want to, we can end it here and then I guess update the next episode. Like I said, nothing else has came up.
Yeah, we'll give it like 1 or 2 more minutes. Because whenever like we record, my phone dies so fast. If y'all don't know, I record these on my phone, which is obviously the camera quality is not great on my phone, but on my laptop, like it's 1,000 times better on here than on my MacBook. Our end goal with this, by the way, is to like be in person and like record these in like the same setting. I know that would be a lot more ideal, and have like be able to do like film breakdowns, like all that stuff. So, maybe we're able to do that one day. We'll see though. Nothing new. My phone is on 2%.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
All right. Yeah, we'll just we'll go ahead and we'll end it here. With the trade deadline, I guess maybe coming to an end if no more notifications are going to roll in, and we'll be sure to update if they do.
Yeah.
Here in the last couple minutes, but good episode today. I know we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but it's good to be back and have the entertainment that we've had from the NBA over the past like week or so. It's been a really entertaining week, and with All-Star Weekend coming up, it's only gonna get better. I'm sure that's what our next episode will be centered around.
They're having like a trade deadline update now. I don't know if that's like. Told of any moves for the Toronto Raptors either. No moves for the Raptors or Bulls, so I guess that's probably it for the trade deadline.
Looks like it. Well, all right. I guess we'll go ahead and we'll sign out. We'll see y'all next time. Peace out. Thanks for coming to the special.